I I got my Michael merch. I got the fedora. I got the fedora. Ah. I'm being silly. But listen, I went to see the movie. It was amazing. Can't wait to tell you about it. Stay tuned. Okay, so I want to talk about the Michael movie. The Michael movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. It will change your life. Um, so listen, as I was leaving the theater after watching the Michael movie, I didn't even want to really talk about it right away. My thought process was, let me sit with this a little bit, just really relish in it. Because this wasn't just any movie for me. This was my era. And yes, um, my mom's era too. But for me, this was personal because this was like the soundtrack to my childhood. I wasn't just watching a story, I was remembering a feeling. I'm talking about when music was like an event, when artists felt larger than life, and when you didn't have access to everything like you do now. And to me, that made it special. I think that's the first thing that hit me, because Michael had mystique. He didn't overshare. Let me say that again. He did not overshare. I didn't know what he ate for breakfast. I didn't know what the rooms in his house looked like until I saw this movie. And I certainly didn't know what was going on in his house day to day. So what I knew was his talent. I knew he could dance. I knew he could perform. I knew he carried himself like a gentleman at all times. I knew that he loved his mother. I knew that he cared about humanity. He cared about children. He cared about everything related to how we were supposed to live on this earth. His artistry spoke for itself, and everything else he kept to himself. And I can respect that. And today, let's face it, it's the opposite. Artists now, for the most part feel like they have to show you everything, every detail, every thought, every moment of their lives. And but Michael didn't do that. He didn't do that. And it was this thing where he gave you room to wonder. And that wonderment was the thing that pulled us all in. So you leaned in because you didn't know everything. And you respected him because he didn't give you access to everything. And that is something I feel that we've lost today. Um, okay, now let me take it back for a second. Just bear with me. I'm gonna go back and then I'm gonna take it forward. So I remember being a little girl when Off the Wall was out. I was in elementary school, learning the basics, in school, and my mom got Michael Jackson tickets. Now, the deal was this was my currency. So I had to do what I needed to do in school and perform well in school. And that was my reward, was to go and see Michael in concert. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. And the film just brought it all back. Like I was physically at that concert, but this time I was seeing it in a cinematic fashion that my memory just couldn't seem to bring alive. I was there, but when I saw it on that screen, it brought it all back. And yeah, for me, I've been to a lot of concerts, but that one was my first. And when people say, like, what was the first concert you'd ever been to, that would have to be the answer for me. I saw Michael Jackson during the Triumph tour. Um, so watching this movie, like I said, brought back a lot of nostalgia. Now, let me talk about the casting. The casting for this film was remarkable. They need to win an Oscar for casting alone, because there was nobody on this God green earth that could have done this. Nobody. And I do mean nobody. You've heard the family talk about this. I say it with confidence, because I know that there are some really good impersonators out there. Um, let's talk about impersonators for a second. So I have different schools of thought about impersonators. So there's impersonators that are serious and they go about it in a serious fashion. And then you have the ones that, to me, turn him into a joke. Like, they exaggerate him, or they make him into a caricature. And my thing is, if you're going to impersonate him the right way. Like, I feel like they don't do that justice. Because here's the thing, if you really knew who he was, if you really like watched him and studied him, you would know he wasn't a caricature. He was very intentional, very precise, very controlled. Um, and Jafar understood the assignment. I mean, point blank, period. He understood the assignment. And he didn't play Michael like a character. That's the thing I want to stress. He didn't play him like a character. He embodied him. He studied, you could tell he studied his uncle's mannerisms, his movement, his restraint. Most importantly, he was very respectful in how he played him. That is, to me, I think the difference is, you could tell that he really put his heart and soul into that performance. And let's be honest, the fact that he's family, duh, that matters, right? Because that's a level of understanding that you can't teach somebody. Um, you can't give someone that level of access, and you can't recreate it. It's just one of those things. It is or it isn't. So hands down, he deserves his flowers. Hope he wins an Oscar, because he would surely deserve it. So we'll see how that pans out during the Oscar season. Um, Cinematography. It pulled me in like a magnet. There was no aspect of the cinematography that felt flat to me. It was very immersive. There were moments where I felt like I was literally at a concert, and like I could just reach out and touch the screen. It felt so close. Um, Thriller. I can't stress enough how accurate the Thriller and the Beat It and the Billie Jean and the Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Like, it just was so spot on accurate. It wasn't funny. Like, but it wasn't like, I felt like they were giving us some angles and some behind the scenes that we hadn't seen before, which made it really special and real. And you know, we've seen these videos a zillion times. So to see it on the big screen and have these little I call them chef kiss moments of, just behind the scenes access. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Um, wow. What else? People said that the movie was paced wrong. I disagreed with that. I felt like the movie was in its era at the appropriate times. And that, for example, it's like, okay, if you stayed in the 70s too long, the movie might be 3-4 hours long. So I feel like the scenes were paced in a way where it progress the story forward. Um, oh gosh, the music, y'all. Oh, the music. The music. I need that music. I loved the way that they remixed the songs and made them so airy and light, and there were, just moments where you just escaped into the music. Like I could just, that's why I need to see it again, because I need to, if I'm focused on the dialogue, I may not have been able to fully immerse myself in the music. And I want to do that the next time. The music just made me fall in love with the songs all over again. Like I'd never heard them before. Um, yeah, it's, look, make you want to, um, I'm being silly, but I just, uh, I don't know. There's not enough adjectives and expressions of gratitude that I can express, because, oh, the tender moments. Okay, like the moments with his mom and those tender interactions, like it was grounded in human moments. And I really appreciated that, because honestly, that's what made it real. And it made him a real person. Like you didn't see him as this super megastar. You saw him as someone's son. Um, and he was a real person. And I love that the film didn't lose that one iota. The film stayed true to that. Okay, so let's talk about the movie theater experience for us. I went with my husband, and we had really good seats, maybe like fifth row from the front. And there was like another couple like in between us. So we weren't like jammed up on another couple, but we had really great reclining seats. Like I had my blanket, I had my fedora hat, I had my popcorn, I had what else did we have? I had sliders, I had my fries. Yes, I went all out. Look, diet out the window. And we sat like, I think like a couple rows from the D box. And if you're not familiar with the D box, that's the seats where you actually feel the vibration of the music as it's playing. But here is the kicker, because we were so close to it, we could feel it from where we were sitting. Um, Human nature, my goodness. So airy, so light. Jafar, I got lost in the performance, quite honestly. Like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm in a movie theater, but this feels like I went to the Michael Jackson concert. It was just so made you want to float on the stage kind of vibe. And I feel like that is the performance that he'll probably win the Oscar for. You've heard it first. I said it. I think it's going to come to be the case, um, because I feel like that was the performance where he really got lost in the character and became him. And when Human Nature came on, that was it for me. That to me was the moment. That was the moment. And that was the moment where everything just kind of came together. I sat there thinking, this is why Michael Jackson is different than any other artist. This is why he still matters. And this is something that you cannot recreate. You can't recreate what he did, because it wasn't just talent. It was more than that. It was the mystique, which we talked about, but it was intention. It was discipline. He had a level of discipline and mystery mixed in there and presence. I think he was well aware of how he came across visually, what people wanted to see, what made people gravitate. Maybe it was a smile, maybe it was a wink, maybe it was a certain dance move. Like he was very in tune, I think, to that. And we just don't see that same way anymore. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. No shade to anyone who's out there and doing their thing. I just feel like it's just a different time. It's a different time. You got to remember, fun fact, he did this without social media. There was no social media. He sold all those albums, CDs, like there were people, I think there were people in tribal nations that knew who Michael Jackson was. How would they know that if he wasn't the most popular, artist? Let me close with this. This movie for me wasn't just entertainment. It was a reminder. It was a reminder of a time when artistry led everything. When artistry led everything. And when you didn't have to show every detail of your life to be relevant. So when excellence spoke louder than access, that was what we were privy to. That was our world. Um, but I walked away from that theater just feeling really good, and I wanted to hear the music and experience the sound. Um, and I don't take it for granted. It was truly an experience. So living through that time, real time, I've been in situations where people have asked me like, "What was it like?" Um, it was everything that you've seen. It was very special and unique. And watching this movie brought that feeling back. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed watching this commentary, let me know what your thoughts and comments are and what you thought about the film. I'd love to hear it. So, thank you for watching.